Sorry, Chair, just 1 second, please.
We can't hear you anymore, Emmanuel.
Okay, can you hear me now, Chair? Can you hear me now?
Yes, we.
Okay, so this is what you will see on page 20 of the budget document table by the provincial treasury in in March, and you'll see what's available. So there is funding available for, on the first line, if you look over here, you see there's a funding available for health, for COE, and other things such as antiretroviral treatment, medicines, and other goods and services. Compensation, there's funding available there over the 3 years, and the cost of living, the wage agreement gap that we funded already. So that's available to the province, and I see the provincial treasury has allocated it in the similar way. There. Yeah, I think that's all from my side, unless I missed something. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. The lady who was presenting on local government.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I think Wendy partly covered the solar panels question, but just to add to say, over and above the relief that would be given in terms of the solar panels, also we looked at incentivizing or funding for the alternative energy for poor households under the INEP grant, or the Integrated National Electrification Program, of which 18.8 billion will be funded over the MTEF period to lessen the pressure on the grid. And then also just to add that the incentive is for individuals and companies, but more information will be added on the Treasury's website. Thanks.
There are follow-ups if there are anyone to give it to you. But I'm seeing the hand there, I'm told is the hand of CQ. Yes, Honorable CQ.
Thanks, Honorable Chair. I'm so sorry, I was not hearing well when Emmanuel was responding around the issue of the Department of Health. The issue of the COE, whether they are covering those that were in contract during the COVID-19. Is there any provision for that? Because we saw in Gauteng when they were toying, saying that they want to be absorbed by the department. So maybe I did not hear well because this side was not clear when he was presenting. If he can just take me through to that, whether there is a provision for all those that were employed during COVID-19 to be absorbed, the provision on the budget.
Emmanuel, if you can respond to that one, but there was a response by Wendy when she indicated that the issue of the pressures on COE are going to given attention throughout. That's what I heard when she was talking about that. But if Emmanuel can speak to that, because that is a specific Department of Health issue which have been tackling since the time when COVID went a bit down. Then they spoke about that absorption and whatever, the minimum standards that they spoke about. Emmanuel, can you assist on that specific?
Yes, thank you, Chair. So no, the funding is not directed towards the absorption of contract COVID stuff. So it's for overall COE pressures that the department faces, as education faces also. So I highlighted earlier that during our interactions with the province as well, we are still not, we still don't have a firm position in terms of whether these staff are going to be absorbed into the establishment and how it's going to be funded, because there's no funding from National Treasury or from the National Department of Health that's available for that particular item. Thanks.
I hope CQ you were covered on that one. The issue of COE, it has to be continuously addressed because there are problems. There in education, more than 6,000 posts in KZN, which we have got no funds for. Then there is a problem in the Department of Social Development, as we indicated, and then specifically in health. Why they wanted to absorb them is because anyway, those posts were not there during COVID, but then work was not being done and all the stuff. That was the problem. Talk about porters, cleaners, and all those people, including the nursing staff as well. We had, I can't remember the exact numbers. They were thrown at us and at that time. But what then is the principle that we're agreeing upon is that the matter should continuously be relooked with the aim of addressing it. Otherwise, the government departments will have got no capacity to deliver services to our people, bearing in mind that the social departments are labor intensive in their nature. So that's what we wanted, just to leave it with the National Treasury. No, just for you, National Treasury and the Provincial Treasury. I don't know how I jumped this thing, but also in my preparation for this meeting, I wanted to raise it. We're not raising it for the first time. If you remember the year when there was no increase for workers in the public service, you recalled the money as National Treasury. KZN Department of Education indicated that some of the causes of the pressures on COE is because you cut them more than what you were supposed to cut. I don't know if you could comment on that one. No. And they raised it again. They said if we can get back that money that was cut over by the National Treasury, we would be better off. I can't remember the response of the Provincial Treasury on the matter. But when we first engaged with education immediately after the cut, National Provincial Treasury confirmed that indeed there was overcut on the part of that SOE for education specifically. I don't know whether when the Emmanuel and the lady, you could comment on that one. But if you don't have any information, there's no problem. You can do it in writing. Wendy and the team, are you having load shedding, guys, there?
I am having load shedding, yes, but I don't have any problems. I'm asking if Emmanuel wants to add, otherwise we'll do it in writing. Emmanuel, over to you.
No, it's fine. Thanks, Wendy. We'll reply in writing. Thank you.
We can't hear you, Mr. Pillay.
Yes, Chair. I said we'll reply in writing once we decide with Wendy's team in terms of the response. Thank you.
No. We don't want it. Our aim is not to put you on the tight corner because we are a team. When you release that 631 million, hey, you made my days, guys. You made my day. I want to indicate that to you. You are my stars. The team National Treasury on that one. We'll wait for the response, that written response. We'll wait for it. No, colleagues, I think we've come to the end of the engagement with the National Treasury with the understanding on the following, that the issues of pressures will be continuously be looked at by both the Provincial Treasury and the National Treasury. More specifically, affecting the 3 departments that we mentioned. Then on the question of property rates, I think Honorable Government, they were answered there. Fortunately, the officials of the provincial treasury were listening as well. And I know when we engage with the Department of Public Works and the Treasury, they indicated that the matter would have to be looked at and see how it gets resolved by midterm. So by November 2023, we will see how the matter is resolved. Provincial, if they need to enter into engagement with the National Treasury, that is well and good. But we are talking about that, that thing of property rates funding through our own engagement with the department. It is clear we cannot move. I wonder if they will come even to that 6 months. So, but it's a provincial matter. No, we've heard about the emergency grant, housing grant. No, we're happy about that response. We hope that the portfolio committee on human settlements in this province will be able to interact with the department on that particular information. On the issue of number plates, Wendy has committed herself, will then find a way of getting a written response from the National Department of Transport. On the solar system, my lady indicated we are going to check on that particular matter. But now I'm hearing something else, assisting the vulnerable, meaning the poor. You, Mr. Rogers, if you decide to put a solar system in your own place, you might not be considered, but we'll go to the website and then check on that one. But it must be understood that even those who belong to the middle class, it's not their responsibility to provide electricity. Electricity must be provided by this monster called the ESCOM, which is a national entity. So when people are trying to meet that underperforming monster, then irrespective of their standing in the society, then government must intervene, because they are doing government work anyway. Just to speak the truth as it is. That's why our people were excited when Kotongwane raised the matter, but then the understanding was he never categorized the members of the society. But what needs the national government to know is that it is their responsibility to generate electricity. If then they are falling short and people use whatever resources that they have to be given, believe very strongly as a matter of principle, because it's any way to generate electricity in this country. So that's what it was. So thank you very much, Wendy, for the good presentation as usual. We also want to thank you, Mr. Pillay, for the good presentation that you have made and then presented on local government. It was a very good presentation. We have been quite happy that you are seeing